So the next step in our talent management approach is retain. So again, we're talking about how to attract, retain, and repel the right employee. Retain's pretty straightforward. I mean, if you get them in the door, then you now have your opportunity to keep them there. There are a lot of steps that go with retention. Same with attract. One of the things that we were talking about was the electronic age and how are you going to get me there. So let's just say that your organization is committed to using the whole social media approach to recruitment, okay? And again, we have to remember, once we start spending money, we have to track the ROI. So there are some great tools. Halogen, e-recruitment is an outstanding product, to be able to track those hard dollars. But if you're going to go out and recruit with those social media, social networking approaches, and the employee gets there and all of a sudden they realize there's malware and they can't even get on the internet and they have to turn their cell phone off all day, they're not going to stick around. I speak around the country probably about 20 times, a room full of HR people, sometimes not HR people. And I'll ask the exact same question though. How many times did you take a job and when you got there, it wasn't what the company said it was going to be? It wasn't the experience you expected. How long did you stay? I know from my own experience, I stayed about 90 days. And the average that I hear in these rooms full of people is about 6 months, 9 months, maybe a year. Then you've got, the outlier at 6 years or the super outlier that says, I'm still there. But really, we want to fit. And when organizations say one thing and then are another, we're really not going to stick around. And that also has a lot about fit. We want to be with like-minded people. And that's a big thing about retention. The other thing about retention I think is super important is, now you've got me here, what are you going to do with me? And a lot of organizations don't really give a lot of thought about keeping the best and the brightest. I mean, we'll talk about training in a moment, but what about succession planning? If you bring me in and you say that this is our vision, mission, and values, and I embrace that, and I welcome that, and I feel that my personal value system is a match with the company's value system, and now I come in. Well, one of the things that attracted me here was we believe people are our most important asset. If you say that and you're selling that in your employment brand or your messaging, then you've got to provide that. And a lot of that can be done through things like succession planning, having the right players in the right job or readying them through training and development for that, as well as an appraisal system that allows for the employee to understand. The performance appraisal can't be once a year. We have to be giving this feedback along the path. And a succession plan has to be succinct. And you have to understand and communicate that right from the time I walk in the door. Liz, we value you. We really do. In fact, value you so much so that let's talk about your career path. So at 90 days, once I get through my 90-day period, we're going to start talking about our career path. And a lot of that will be dependent on training and education. Training is a huge component, especially for your high pots, for your high potentials. They want to learn, they want to be engaged. This generation that's behind us, they are learning new things every day. They are figuring out new things every day. So we have to look at how are we going to train and what kind of excitable information are we going to bring in. Of course, all this much has to match with our strategic vision and our strategic plan. But if you have tools in place like this, then you have a competitive advantage because you have a systemic approach to talent management and a systemic approach to employee development. A couple other real interesting factors about this whole training, I guess, is organizations today are really looking 10, 15 years into the future and thinking about things like where am I going to put my next plant? where are the people going to be? Not only demographics, but where are people going to want to live? What is the technology that we have to have in place? And using things like that as your future vision and creating these training programs, partnering with the local high schools and community colleges. You know, healthcare has always done a great job of that, about going to their local community college, setting up these student nurses programs, having a preceptor or a mentor, bringing candy stripers in to really learn the healthcare industry and their ins and outs of the hospital, and then they're familiar with it. So programs like this are really going to build our infrastructure for talent management in the future.